Hey guys, today we're going to make some duct work. We got Leaf Falk's car in here, Gen 6 body. So I already got my measurements for what I need for the bottom pan. This one's 31 by 24, yours may be different. But anyway, got it laid out here. I'm going to go ahead and trace my nose pattern out and then put some marks down the side and shear it off and hold it up to the car and see how we need to trim it.
Now, is that more of a generic pattern, or does that fit any specific
That pattern is actually for the old style 5-star, but I've measured and just added to it.
Now, will the other half of this sheet metal get used for the same thing, or?
Yeah, I'm either going to use it for the top or the sides.
Nice, no pieces wasted.
No.
Overall, how long does it take somebody to make duct work?
It really just depends. I'd say probably 3 hours maybe. Just kind of depends how good it goes. It's like everything else on a race car. It could be going great, it could go bad. Just kind of depends on the day, really.
And your experience level.
Right here, we're going to put the slot in it for the center of the nose. Usually about a 1/4 inch wide.
And you put the drill hole in there. What
Yeah, just start with an 1/8 inch hole, and then I unibit it out a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Basically, all it does is give you a nice round edge instead of a square.
So you
try to cut it out with snips.
You get a little better seal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It looks a little nicer also. So you can just take a straight edge, give yourself a little bit of room so it's not as tight sliding on. Take a cut on your line to the hole. File your edges so you don't cut yourself or anyone else.
Safety first, kids.
Now we're going to cut the back piece here. Slide it over to the shear.
So those little notches you cut, those will just basically catch on the edge, so that.
Yeah, just basically make sure that you cut on the correct line and you don't cut too short.
Gotcha.
So just pull it to where it stops against it and you don't have to guess at your line. Alright, so now we'll go over to the car, hold it up, see where we need to trim in the front if we do, and then mark the edges in the back.
All right. So what do we think of the fit?
It fits pretty good at the front. I'm gonna grab some clamps, clamp it up there, and then mark it from the top side so I know where 90 my edges up on.
All right, so you've got your markings for where the sides and everything's going to be. What's our next step?
We're going to come out from our lines that we made for the radiator. I usually go 5/8 of an inch out, so we'll mark 5/8 from our line there. Do it on both sides. Draw it all across. That's going to be where we share it at. Take your steps.
So that's our base.
That's the bottom. We're going to take 45 the edges here just for a cleaner look.
And then what does that line do?
It's just extending my line back here because the radiator mounts onto the support. So I'm just going to take and trim this little square out and then 45 it here so that when we 90 it up, it doesn't hit the radiator support.
All right.
File down our corners before we break it. Go ahead to the break. Should have 5/8 of an inch or whatever you decided to go sticking out.
And these are, what you're creating here will be what the sides will attach to.
Yep, that's correct.
Nice.
Now we're going to go ahead and mark our holes in the back to attach it. Drill them in.
So does the radiator mount already have the holes for it, or do you?
No, you have to put the holes through it.
So you decide how far apart the holes are and everything.
Yeah, unless you're reusing it and trying to hit your old holes.
Gotcha.
Go ahead and drill these out to 3/16. Do whatever size you want. Just customer preference, really.
So now you
Deburr the holes.
ream it out since you can't get a file in there.
Yep. Clean up the edges. I'm gonna go back to the brake. Just put like a little touch brake right next to the holes. Make it a little stronger and help it seal off against the radiator mount itself.
So a touch brake, that's just a barely,
Yeah.
almost barely, no bend at all, but
Just enough to make a line in the material, really. Alright, so now we're ready to go back to the car and drill some more holes.
now do the holes have to be a certain distance apart, or is it just kind of,
Just personal preference.
okay. So now you take your same template that you use for the bottom to get your
Yeah, I'm just making sure that it's the same as what I made the bottom one. So we just need to get a top measurement.
and that would be from the top of the radiator to the,
Yes.
To
And then
the
depending
top
on
of
if
the
you're gonna make your ductwork straight or curved.
okay.
So we'll cut this one at 25 inches, so it'll be 25 by 31.
And so you got your template, got your measurements, just trace it on.
Yep, trace it on, cut it out just like we did for the bottom.
All right. Okay, so here's a question for you. You're switching your snips. Why do you switch your snips?
That way, whenever you cut, you don't leave the teeth marks on the material that you're keeping. It leaves a nice smooth edge whenever you cut with the correct side, and the other side has the teeth marks on it.
So it leaves a little jagged edge. Yeah. And it doesn't look quite as nice.
Yep. Just like on the bottom, file it. Then we'll go put it on the car, see if we need to trim anywhere, and then mark our edges for our 90s. Alright guys, just like on the bottom, we got our marks here from where we're the least it can be. So we're going to go out, like I said, 5/8, 3/4, whatever you want to do.
That way you've got room to make your break, right?
Yep. We're going to come down from our top on this particular radiator. We're going to come down an inch and draw a line. Just so when we attach it to the top of the radiator, that we clear the outer wear and stuff that this radiator has on it. It's just like on the bottom where you notched it for your radiator support. We're gonna do basically the same thing here. Cut the little square out, and then 45 in. Alright, I'll put it in there. Break our 90s now.
I think you have to do a touch break on this one.
We will once we get it curved. To fit and get a lip bend at the top to attach it to the radiator where it peels off. So go ahead and we'll mark 5/8 at the top just because that's the height of the lip we're attaching to. We'll just go ahead and put a little bit of bend in it. Just kind of an educated guess. We'll go to the car and start shrinking and stretching until we get it in there.
So this will put a bend in the sheet
This
metal.
is what curves it.
Gotcha. So it sort of stretches it out a little bit.
Yep. One goes one way and the other goes the opposite.
Gotcha.
So just start going. Don't push down too hard. If you do, it will just break the aluminum and you'll have to start over. So just gradually bend it. You just keep test fit until you get it down in there.
So how often do you actually get it fit the first time?
Hardly ever. But it's easier to keep going than trying to take it out. If you try to take it out and you go too far, then that's when it cracks the metal, and basically then your crack just keeps continuing to cross.
And you
So
just
that's
toss it and start over.
Yep. There you go. Pretty close right there. Make a few adjustments on the top and we'll be good to go. Alright, we got it all clamped up here, top and bottom. Went ahead and cut our angle cuts at the top of the radiator so it matches real nice. So now we're gonna go ahead and drill holes up top and then into the bottom down here. And then we'll, after that, be ready for sides.
All right, Zip, so when it comes to doing the sides, give us kind of a walkthrough on that.
Alright, for this particular bumper bar setup, your side needs to be 2 pieces in order to get around the bar that's in between the frame horns. So we got our pattern here for the back side. Just hold it up, make sure it's against the radiator. Then we're going to take our piece of template paper, put on the back side here. Because the notch doesn't need to be that deep. And then put another piece of tape here on the bottom to hold it in place. We're going to measure it down to the bottom, make sure we're going to be long enough. We need to add 2.5 inches. So we'll go over to the fab table and trace it out and add our 2.5 to the bottom. Alright, so on the back side here against the radiator, we're going to put a 90-degree break about a 1/2 inch wide. So we'll go ahead and mark 1/2 inch here on a piece of aluminum we're going to use. We'll take our pattern, put it up against it here, right on the line. Then make sure, like I said, this one needs to be 2.5 inches longer. So slide it up here at 2.5. Then you'll take and notch it out. Rough cut it long so you don't have such a big piece of material to mess with.
Now, are you worried about the curvature of the top part of the ductwork, or will you just hold this up and kind of get the...
After I get this notched out, we'll slide it on there, make sure the notch fits real good around the bar, and I'll draw a line on the bottom. Make sure it's flush with the bottom pan. I'll cut it, then we'll put it up there one more time and mark the top, then I'll cut the radius into the top. Our square tubing was 1 inch, a little bit over 1 inch, that we had a little bit of room and it's not rubbing it. So we'll take and cut that out. Now here to the brake and bend this upward.
Hey, Zip, let's see if this thing fits up nice and like it's supposed to.
Gonna make a little mark here at the weld on the radiator.
You gotta cut that out, or?
No, we'll actually take and dent the aluminum around it where it seals off better.
Very nice.
So we'll go ahead and mark the bottom where it needs to be cut. And we'll go back to the table, trim that, dent it around the weld, and then come back and we'll mark the top side and cut it.
So those are your marks from the weld.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see where it was hitting it right there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put our dent in it here for the radiator.
So essentially what you've got there is just a piece of wood with a groove cut into it.
Yep.
And then just hitting a bolt into it.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to do it. This is just how I do it.
All right, zip your back onto the car. Let's
see how good we did.
there and see what you think.
There we go. Nice and tight.
Dent
Bottom's flush right there.
and that dent hugs that weld just right.
Yep. So it holds itself in there nice. And we'll mark the top. Alright, so we'll just mark down here for our radius. Mark the back side. Cut just a little bit below our line to ensure that it doesn't stick up above it. Alright, we'll go ahead and mark out some holes.
All right, zip back under the car. Got it fitted back up there.
Yep.
What do we do next?
We're gonna go ahead and drill our holes. That way it stays in place while we're making the rest of the ductwork. Alright, so now we get our other pattern for the rest of the truck. Basically here you just want to get the length and make sure you're high enough up. So I'll put that against the nose. Put some tape on it. So you got your angle here at the nose and you're against the bar in the back. So we'll go transfer it to some aluminum and hold it up here and basically repeat the process. Fit the bottom and then do the radius at the top.
All right, let's head over there. So basically with this template, we're just kind of getting just a rough,
Yeah, like I said, basically
estimated shape.
your length and your angle at the front where the drill string goes. So we'll just put that up against the back. Basically just trace it right here. Just go ahead and draw this line across, that way it's easier to cut.
All right, let's see how our fit is now.
There we go.
Very nice.
So we'll go ahead and draw our line across the bottom.
All right, so how's that side over there looking?
That's looking good. If I can get you to trace the top for me, that'd be
Sure.
perfect.
Let's see if I can do this while holding the camera. I think we've got it. What's next?
Right here on the back side where it meets the other piece, we're going to put a touch brake on it also. That way it helps seal off and makes it stronger.
All right, so we got the new side piece fitted up.
Yep, so we're going to go ahead and start drilling our holes here. We going it on.
All right, so now we're on the other side. We're essentially going to do the same thing, just backwards, the other way.
So just like the other side, we're gonna put a piece of template paper on the back side, so we know how deep to make our cut for the bar. Get a measurement down, see how much longer it needs to be. Should be the same as the other side, and it is. So we'll go over to the table. Get out there. Just like the other side, we're gonna start off by marking a 1/2 inch. Double check, make sure you're high enough.
2.5.
Yep, 2.5. And that hangs down a little bit, just gives you enough. Make sure you have enough there. So, go ahead and mark the front side of this, and then our notch. Like I said, just 1 inch tubing on this one, so we're gonna go about 1 1/8 inch, give it a little room. Cut out of our notch now. Alright, we'll go ahead and put our 90 on the back here. Make sure that you do it the correct way where it faces outward, or else your side will not go on. Mark the bottom, cut it. Go ahead and drill our holes in the bottom. Mark the top and cut it. Drill those holes, and then we'll move on to the front piece.
All right, good. We'll crawl it back under there. Let's get it centered up tight.
Alright, go ahead and mark it out there.
All right, there we go. And do you put your rails a certain distance from the bottom?
Yeah, it just depends on how thick your 90 is on the bottom pan, top pan. Just go up whatever would make that halfway. So we have plenty of room top and bottom of the hole.
Okay. All right, so we got it in there. Should have a good fit.
Go ahead and make sure we're flush with the bottom, and we'll start drilling our holes.
All right, so now we're getting the pattern for the front half. So you get the big piece lined up against the bar. meets the grill screen. All right, so again, we're just gonna you're just gonna rough in the general shape you're looking for, right?
Yep. We're gonna try to get this one a little closer than we did the last one, so we don't have to trim as much on the top side.
Sure. Hey, Zips, how are we looking over there?
We're good, front to back. Just gonna mark the bottom here and cut it, and then we'll move up to the top side.
Doesn't fit down there.
That's perfect down here.
Alright.
If I can get you to mark the top side of the
Sure.
Austin.
All right, we should be good. And so again, you kind of go down just a little inside that line so you get that nice.
I'd rather it be a little bit short than too long.
All right, so here's our touch brake. He said this will help seal it off and makes it a little stronger.
That's right.
All right, let's go fit it up. All right, Zip, how we look down there?
Looks pretty good. Go ahead and start drilling our holes here.
All right, Zip, so it's all got all the holes drilled. Now you just got to go through and
Rivet it together.
rivet it together.
Put a grill screen in it. We're done.
All right, let's get to it.
Alright guys, that's how you put the ductwork and grill screen in the car. I'd like to thank Leaf Walk Racing for dropping it off. See you guys next time.